Hey fam, how you doing? We are here. It is a new year, and I am glad to see you guys. I know that my schedule as of right now is wildly unpredictable with my current job. Hey Kristen, wildly unpredictable with my current job. I'm still putting in an insane amount of hours, 60 minimum. Minimum. I've worked as many as 80. But I just so happened to get myself off today. I was in the store, but not on the clock. I was doing a lot of organizing and putting together drawers to help me do that. So I was in there taking my good old time, just organizing things the way I wanted for, I want to say like 6 hours. Like 6 hours. But I digress. I'm home now. Yeah. And I definitely wanted to talk to you guys about the full moon. I wanted to talk to you about this full moon in Cancer. It definitely hits for me. And I'm glad that I will not be at work when it goes off. I don't like being at work with full moons. Those days tend to be rough. So I try not to be there. And since I make my own schedule, you know, details. But we're going to talk about this moon. So y'all know, if you're familiar with me in the channel, that I'm old school and I don't do screen share technology stuff. I print things out old school. And this is the chart that we are looking at with this full moon. It's the moon is conjunct Mars, and the sun is tightening its orb with Pluto, and Pluto is in orb opposition to Mars. So even though the sun and Pluto are just a little bit away from each other, they're about 8 degrees apart, they're still having a conversation that is getting more intense as the week progresses. We've also got Chiron up here, T-squaring on this energy with Eris. And Saturn and Venus are tightening their conjunction, and they're in square to Jupiter. Jupiter is not happy already in Gemini. And it's creating this lovely bracket of tension. Right, all of the semi-square, square, opposition energy is kind of just, it's popping off, and you could probably feel it, like, to a degree. And you guys will have to let me know in the comments. Emotional overwhelm is really high, and when you feel that emotional overwhelm, or even that mental overwhelm, as if you're sacrificing your mental battery for things, it could almost feel like you can't breathe, right? It could almost feel like you can't breathe. It could feel like your emotions are really affecting your judgment. With the Piscean energy being in conflict, you may feel like you're sleeping but not rested. You could be feeling like your psyche and what you want in your subconscious conversations in regards to love or money or long-term commitments is clashing with your reality. The mirror might not be ideal, right? We're talking about that Jupiter and Gemini energy, and it's this mirror with other people being blown up in our faces. And we're literally at war emotionally with the mirror in front of us, because it's not what we want or what we thought we wanted, or where we saw ourselves 5 years ago and we were like, where do I see myself in 5 years? You know, like where we are now, we didn't picture ourselves where we're at. And it's a really trial by fire kind of test, where you probably feel emotionally drained, like to an extreme, right? The mental battery is mush. The mental battery is mush. Like, don't feel like you're alone if you just do not have the mental capacity to people, to relationship with people. Like, the mental battery is practically non-existent. And needing to get things done with the sun in Capricorn, that drive to keep pushing is just further putting the emotions under pressure, right? It's almost like this emotional volcano that has all of this pressure building underneath the surface. And it's getting really difficult to not acknowledge it, right? To not acknowledge it. I think people are pushing through so hard that the emotions are taking a back seat. But because they're taking a back seat, it's just getting to the point where you can't ignore it either. Cancer in his 10th and 11th. Full moon just hits inside the 11th house. Yeah. Riding the waves. Yeah. Yeah, Kristen. I get it 100%. The moon is in my first house. The moon is in my first house. Mars is literally on that cusp between my first and second house. My natal moon is in my second house, barely. It's closer to Mars. But it's definitely that push, right? For me being a Cancer rising, like it's that push for me to focus on my emotional self, my emotional body, and yet Mars is like forcing all this energy into it. It's because I'm driven, right? Financially, I'm driven. I want certain things. Second house, like wanting certain things that would bring me peace. Like right now, I'm like super driven towards getting my house. I'm like in the home stretch. In the home stretch of getting my first home. And it's like just a few months out where I'll actually be able to like get situated and not be doing some crazy 40-minute commute to and from work once or twice a day sometimes. Like, I cannot wait to just live 5 or 10 minutes from my job. You know? In my own house, you know, so I could focus on getting a goddamn hot tub. So it's like, but the drive is real, right? And there's all of these things going on in the mind that are trying to chip away at the drive, right? They're trying to chip away at the drive. That Chiron and Aries is the wounded self. Aries ruling the head, right? And things that go on inside the mind. And how we're processing this mirror, right? This mirror with Jupiter in Gemini, and having Saturn conjunct Venus in Pisces, squaring all of this energy. It's either one of two things. There's either a really easy access to escapisms, right? Maybe you have plenty of money right now and you have all of the means to delve into certain substances, right, to help you escape the stress, which is going to make it worse as time goes on. Or the complete opposite. You are low on funds. You can't afford your substances that typically help you escape. And if you invest in them, you're putting yourself up Schitt's Creek. And if you don't invest in them, the fact that you're actually having to deal with the emotional process and the mental process, and you can't escape it, is going to create some kind of upheaval. So either way you look at it, the Saturn and Venus energy being conjunct and challenged to all of these things, like people really do want to not deal with it. They really do want to not deal with it, and not dealing with it creates 10 times more problems when you're dealing with things that need to get fucking done, right? Things that need to be delegated out, things that need to, you know, be put off onto other people because you are just one person, right? Even now with my job, I'm focusing on training off my AGM so that they can handle certain things like the truck order, so they can handle certain things like inventory, so that I'm not the only one doing it. Right. I'm not the only one obligated to be there to do it. And having to delegate that stuff out. You know, sometimes I will not be able to do it. Sometimes I'm off on Sunday, like today. And inventory can get done late Sunday night or early Monday morning. So guess who's waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to jump time zones and get inventory done before the store officially opens? This one right here, me. So if I train my AGM to do it, he could have done it tonight. I didn't have the mental capacity to deal with it tonight. I was already there for 6 hours organizing on my day off. Didn't feel like sticking around any longer. I was like, that's it. I want to go home. I want to go live. I want to do what I want to do. And that's it. That's it. You know, I made that call. So, you know, certain things with this full moon are going to be coming up and really putting you under pressure, because I guarantee you by the time I'm done my shift tomorrow, I'm going to be like, that's it. I'm never waking up at 3 a.m. again to do freaking inventory, you know, but it needs to get done. I'm the general manager. Like, it's my responsibility. So it is what it is, until I can get certain people trained. And that's exactly what is going on with these cosmos for people in different areas of their life, right? Maybe you have to delegate your finances. If you have, you know, Capricorn ruling your 2nd house or your 8th house, like maybe you really have to start delegating things and putting it as a responsibility, shared or otherwise, to other people, because you're just one person. You know, like if you're the breadwinner and you make all of the money in your household or the bulk of it, like maybe your partner can step up a little bit. Maybe they can. You know, if you have a hard time keeping track of your finances, maybe you do own your own business. Maybe it's time you really looked at maybe getting an accountant so that you're not stressing the fuck out over tracking your shit. The accountant does it for you, you know? So it's things like that. Like, things have to be delegated out, because when they're not being delegated out, it is literally putting emotional pressure on the self and making you feel like a failure, making you feel like you can't handle it, making you feel like you're less than because it's too much, you know, but you're just one person. You're just one person. There's only so many hours in the day. There's only so much energy in the mental battery. There's only so much energy in the emotional battery, you know, before it exhausts itself and it needs to recharge. So whatever it is that you're dealing with, like, yes, you might be hypercritical of yourself, feeling like you could, should, would do more. The stars are literally making it impossible to get more done, though. Okay. So if you take nothing else away from this cosmic currency, this breakdown of the transits, like, please understand, just because there are little things and maybe even some big things that, you know, are too much to handle right now, doesn't mean you are not good enough for the task. Like, God bless my boss today, because I was in there, like, right on my day off, sitting back there trying to get things organized, brought in my spare printer so that we can print orders out in the store, and I don't have to be there, you know, and have them feeling like they are chickens without heads because they don't have paper copies to write on, and it's on their little phones, like, you know, that they can actually just print shit out from their phone. I brought a second printer in, and he was just like, you know, Grace, you're really doing a great job. Like, I needed to say that to you. I see, you know, all the time you're putting in, and I see that you're staying positive despite the fact that you literally have the busiest grand opening in the market and a store whose sales are generating more, if not at par with the most busiest store within the franchise. You know what I mean? So, and I'm just one person. Like, some of these stores have co-GMs where there's 2 GMs running the store. I'm just by myself. You know what I mean? Like, with AGMs that are really new and don't know how to take on anything that I'm doing. And he was just like, you know, you're holding your shit together and you're doing a great job. Please give yourself that pat on the back if no one else is. Please know that you are trying with the love and the emotions that you have connected to people and situations, you are putting 110% in. And you're human. And any more than that, any more than your 110%, might not physically, mentally, or emotionally, or financially be possible. It doesn't mean you're not doing an amazing job. It doesn't mean you're not doing an amazing job. You're doing the best you can, no matter what it is. The emotional drive to be the best with Mars and Cancer, and the moon really highlighting that drive to be the best and pushing you beyond your limits. You know, if you didn't know what your limits were, Mars opposite Pluto is trying to find the limit. Pluto has no limits. Pluto is intense and it knows no bounds. So when you have these two things in opposition, it's almost like feeling, right? Cancer, feeling like you're reaching this breaking point or you can't go any further. And then Pluto says, but yes, you can though. But yes, you can. And it's integrating this like energy reserve, right? This power reserve that kind of kicks in and you're like, where is my boundary? Where do I get to tap out and say, this is enough? And there isn't one. So you're literally being pushed more than you've ever probably pushed yourself before with these transits, and then judging yourself harshly on top of it because you want to tap out. You want to tap out. It's a lot. And you're like, I don't know how I can keep doing this, right? I don't know how I can keep maintaining this. And yet you're still maintaining it and you're still doing it on empty, like running on fumes, you know, running on fumes. And so you really got to give yourself more credit because this transit is pushing you beyond any limitations you thought you could have, should have, would have had. And you're wanting to hit that boundary so that you have a reason to stop and the boundary isn't there. So you're still going. It's an incredible pursuit for what it is that you want and what it is that you obtain when you continue to reality check yourself and say, you're doing a great job. It's okay if things aren't perfect. It's okay if things aren't perfect. I'm in a territory that I've never actually been in. I'm pushing myself to places that I've never been. And I'm still doing a good job. Things in the reality that are meeting you with resistance, that will pass. That will pass. Like Jupiter is still retrograding right now. It's still retrograding. Mars is still retrograding. You're going over things and reflecting on the mirror and different things that you've chosen from an emotional place, from a compassionate place, and asking yourself, is this really worth continuing this effort? Right? Is it really worth continuing in this effort? Pluto challenging this energy in Aquarius is asking you to look, right, real deep within humanity and the secrets that the connectedness of us keeps, and why we attract the things that we attract and are willing to go to extremes and break the self for it. Think about it. If you have a certain mirror in your reality with a person or a situation, and it's pushing you to extreme limits to where you wish you could just break and end the situation because you don't want to be pushed to these kinds of extremes. By the time Jupiter is direct and Mars is direct, and we start to revisit the positions in which the retrogrades happened, you're either going to understand one of two things, and it's why you pushed yourself so hard, because in the end, it was worth it. Or you're going to realize you went down a compassionate rabbit hole with a mirror that you needed to face within the self and let it go. That you have an emotional attachment to a perspective about yourself, the wounded self, that really needs to stop. Right? Chiron and Aries, the wounded self. Why do you do the things that you do? Why do you emotionally attach to the things that you emotionally attach yourselves to? Can you detach and start to understand the perspective that got you where you are, and accept that this is either something you do or don't want to continue? Right? This perspective of the self. It could be something as, I'm better than everybody else. And you run off that belief system that you could do everything better, and maybe that reality check is maybe you're not. Maybe you believe in your perspective that you're a failure and you fuck everything up and you're a worthless whatever, and that perspective has to stop. There's something inside the mind that's deep, something inside the perspective that's deep, and the energy that's deep, that either needs to be brought to the surface and elevated, or broken, because it's keeping you in broken cycles that are repeating. Okay. Anything to do with love and money, with Saturn, long-term or heavy ties to romance or finances, whether it be long-term commitments like a house, or long-term commitments like a marriage, right? Long-term commitments like having children with someone. Whatever they are, if it's not ideal and psychically you are somewhere else, you're somewhere else. Like, the reality is you're in this dynamic with whatever or whoever it is. But mentally, psychically, subconsciously, you're somewhere else. Daydreaming of something else. Even nighttime dreaming of something or someone else. Like, your reality is asking you, why can't you have it? Why can't you have what you're subconsciously focusing on and subconsciously desire and subconsciously want? Why do you believe you can't have it? Why are you settling for this square with Jupiter, this mirror, right? Why are you settling for this mirror that is putting you under so much pressure, emotionally, financially? Like, why are you putting yourself under so much pressure that you feel the need, right, to maintain this pressure, as opposed to just releasing the pressure and letting the harsh mirror go, right? That bad luck go, and obtaining what it is that you want. What perspective or belief about yourself do you have that needs to stop? What is the perspective of the self that's in the way? Well, this is who I am and this is who I've always been. I'm not changing. Why not? Why not? What is it about yourself that prompts you to attach to such a state of being? An undeservingness of better, right? That you would say, I can never have what I want. That's like an alcoholic saying, well, I'm an alcoholic. I'll always be an alcoholic. And it's like, but you don't have to be, though. Yes, you're going to go through physical withdrawals. Yes, you're going to deal with temptation. Yes, you're going to go through all of these things that alcoholics go through when they release that behavior pattern, that sabotaging mental pattern, right? That creates the alcoholism. But if you truly do feel like you are deserving of a better life, and you want certain partners, right, that will not deal with alcoholism, or you want a certain job, a certain career, and alcoholism has no place in that career path because it would absolutely affect it 100%. You would never be able to maintain it over the long run, right? If alcohol was introduced into your career path, then maybe you deserve to have the life you want. And alcohol and your dependence on it is something that needs to stop. It's no different with people who cheat or deal with infidelity, or I could never be loyal, or I can never attract a good guy or a good girl. I'm always going to be with the problem. You know what I mean? I'm always going to be that person who tries to fix somebody. It's like, but why? Why? God knows I was always attracted to fixers. Always attracted to people who needed fixing, to clarify, who needed fixing, quote unquote. I loved projects. I can't fucking stand projects now. You know, like you can change. You don't have to be the same person. And that's what the tension inside these transits are really having you take a look at. You do not have to anything. You do not have to continue anything. You are in control of your life at the end of the day. You are in control of your partnership and who you choose to be your partner. You're in control of your finances. You're in control of your living situation. You're in control of your career. You're in control. If your car is pissing you the fuck off and it keeps breaking down, damn it, see if you can go to the dealership and trade that shit in. You never know. Stop being that person who always has the beater that breaks down. I don't want to live in an apartment anymore. I want my own home, damn it. I refuse to believe that I can't be a homeowner as a single mother. Well, single mothers, they always rent apartments. They're always struggling. Bitch, not me. Not me. That's not my narrative. Everybody else wants to believe that. That's fine. I'm looking at a fucking house. It's really nice. It's really nice. My credit is great. Like my debt to income ratio is great. Why the fuck can't I get a house? So break the belief systems, right? Break the narrative from yourself or other people and really start to open these doors. Open these doors for yourself. Hey, Risa. Hey, Meta. How you doing? I love you guys. Break the mold, guys. Break the mold. We do have, yeah, it's like that quote. Who is it? Is it a Henry Ford quote? I think it's a Henry Ford quote. Whether you think you can or you can't, either way, you're right. Whether you think you can or you can't, either way, you're right. Doesn't mean it won't be hard sometimes. Doesn't mean it's not going to test you. Doesn't mean it's not going to feel outrageously difficult because you're not used to it. Doesn't make it impossible, though. It doesn't make it impossible. Impossible is just I am possible, and that's about perspective. So shift your perspective. Focus on your I am mantras. Focus on your I am capable mantras. I am capable. I am deserving. I am worthy. Look in the mirror and have a conversation with yourself. I guarantee you there's a mirror in your bathroom. Some of you probably haven't looked at yourself truly in a very long time in a mirror. Maybe you're not a fan of what you see. Now's the time where you face yourself and whatever it is that you want in life and say, I am capable and I can. I can. Fuck can't. This energy does not reward I can't. It's okay. I can. I can. You've got tons of power behind you with Mars and Pluto. It might feel like you've got nothing left, but you've got a ton of energy reserves in there if you integrate those energies. Oppositions are just energy integrations. That's all it is. And it doesn't feel easy. Oppositions don't feel easy. You might feel like you've got nothing left. You've got a ton left. You just don't know how much energy you had behind the wall. You've crossed energetic boundaries with yourself. and are like, I don't know how much energy I have. And I'm afraid I'm going to run out. But the reality is you've crossed that line into a plethora of infinite energy, and you can keep going. You can do it, and you can accomplish it. Whatever it is that you set out to do. If you want it, it is achievable. If you want it, it's achievable. Breaking who you were and becoming someone new, becoming someone improved, becoming version 2.0 or 3.0 or 6.0 of yourself. Yay! Good for you, Meta. Good for you. Congrats. You can do it. You can. Yes, you're going to have moments where you want to break down and cry. Yes, there are going to be moments where you want to take somebody else's fucking head off. Yes, there are going to be those moments. It's not going to not be difficult to move through. The challenges are all over the fucking place. Dealing inside your own head might feel like a fucking nightmare if you have anything outside of mush for brains and can think at all. Because it does feel like that too. It feels like a complete mental fog, and there's not enough sleep. Well-rested sleep. You're going to want to feel like you're going to want to sleep for 10 hours, sleep for 5, and be more rested than you would be if you actually slept 10. And likewise, you could also sleep for 20 hours and feel like you didn't sleep at all. Be easy on yourselves. Be easy on yourselves. Yeah. How you doing? Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Good to see ya. Be easy on yourselves, guys. The transits are brutal. They're brutal. They're exhausting. They're exhausting transits. But you are capable of more than you realize. And I think that can't be forgotten. That can't be forgotten. By the time the moon comes around to where the sun is, it's going to be in Aquarius. It's going to be in Aquarius. It's going to be the first new moon in Aquarius with Pluto. And it's going to clean slate things that really do need to be clean slated. Including yourself, including your perspectives. Financially, things are going to have to change, or romantically, things are going to have to change. Saturn demands order. Venus is meeting it there. With all of these challenges, certain hard decisions are going to have to be made. Certain things are going to have to be acknowledged that have to come out of the psyche, right? Things that we've imprisoned in the psyche do have to come out and be talked about. There are going to be difficult conversations, difficult financial conversations, difficult love conversations. They're going to come out. It has to be had. It can't be escaped forever. It can't be avoided forever. The more people try and avoid those hard conversations, the more that pressure is going to build, the more crazy and drained you're going to feel. And you will hit that wall. At some point, you will hit that wall. When Mars goes direct, when Jupiter goes direct, and you're like, I have to be the leader of my life. I have to be the one that I depend on. I have to be the hero in my own story. I have to be the hero for myself. There is no other hero. I have to save myself from the creation of shitty realities and pressure cookers. I think it would benefit you at this point to acknowledge the love your father had through difficulties, right? The endurance through difficulties. And likewise, the amount of emotional willpower your mother had to deal with such things and difficulties, and how they related to each other even when they were in conflict. To reflect on those relationship dynamics that you witnessed growing up and learn something from them so that you are not repeating them. Not your own parents or other relationship dynamics that you've witnessed and emulated in some way. I think it's important to really carve your own path and learn from the things that you've witnessed so that you can experience new things, new uncharted territory that you can be passionately driven towards. Because if all you've known is pressure and all you've witnessed is pressure, and that's what's familiar, can't you look forward to something different then, if different is ease and peace and stability? Aren't you capable of change? That's the big question. Are you capable of shifting what needs to be shifted, whether it's within yourself or your reality? Because if you can sit here and say, yes, I'm capable of change. Yes, I am capable. Well, that's the first step. That's the first step in the right direction. You could sit here and listen to this and say, no, I'm not capable of changing. Well, then you might as well tune out and never tune back in. Not to this channel. You are capable of great change and living a life that is your own. And anything that has transpired in your past never has to transpire again. You've got this. You've got this more than you realize. Unless you choose otherwise. Unless you choose otherwise. You've got this. There is a great door. Okay, it's one of these mystic rectangles between Uranus and the Sun, Juno and the Moon. It creates these oppositional integrations. But if you can do that, if you can integrate the oppositions, if you can listen to that radical epiphany, groundbreaking person in your life, whether it's a friend or family or coworker or whatever, that person who always tends to blow your mind and read your reality in a different way, especially in terms of commitment and loyalty and standing your ground and your power and choosing what is in your highest good. If you can integrate good advice or different perspectives, if you can remember that you've got the energy to keep going and sever connections with that drains you emotionally and puts pressure on you emotionally to perform like a fucking monkey in your life. If you can open that door, you're opening the door to radically different financial situations. Thanks, Meta. Thank you for the super chat. I love you too. You're opening the door to radically new financial situations. You're opening the door to radical new partnerships that are highly beneficial. You're opening the door to emotional drive and desire. You're opening the door to compassion and leading with compassion for the self in order to do that. And you're going to change your reality. You're going to completely transform your perspective about yourself. You're going to open what is a mystical door. That's why they call them that. It's why they call them that. These mystic doorways, these mystic rectangles. You can go from one life to another. You can open that door and walk through and be a different version of yourself, living a different life. So open the door. Open the door. I'll be damned if I don't get my fucking house. I'm getting my fucking house. Open it. You've already opened so many doors that led to new perspective, doors that led to new relationship, doors that led to new careers, doors that led to new locations, doors that led to new versions of yourself. You've already opened doors. Of course you can open the door. This door, of course you can open the door. It's your door. It was always there, meant for you to open it. So thank the universe for all the growth and all the challenge, because you found a different level of power and strength within yourself that you 5 or 10 years ago had no fucking clue you had. Remember where you were 10 years ago? What about 15? What if you never opened any more doors and were exactly where you were 15 years ago? What if you never opened a door? Yeah. You've already escaped hella dark places. You've already uncovered multiple layers of self-improvement, of life improvement. Of course you can open the next door and peel back the next layer. Of course you can. So best to you and all of the beautiful choices you make for yourself moving forward, because they're going to be great ones. If you know that you can change, if you know that you've grown and are capable of more growth, your life is going to continue to bloom and blossom and provide for you the way it was meant to. Truly. With that, we're going to wrap this live up. We're going to do some readings. We're going to do some full moon readings. I'm going to do it in a separate live. All right. So I love you guys, and I will see you in just a bit. Bye.